Whilst the lockdown is slowly loosening across the globe, we know there are still a few people stuck at home looking for things to do. So we decided to take a look at the best Netflix original films. For this list, we're only looking at the films that were released across the platform globally, so those with limited releases such as Mudbound and Uncut Gems, which were only released in select territories, won't be featured. Number 10, Private Life.
Meeting trying to prevent the opening of a new bar.
Richard, we're not turning 50 on East 6th Street.
I'm 47.
Private Life is an honest and sometimes painful look at the difficulty of having children. With funny and heartfelt performances from the leads, Tamara Jenkins returned to form with this sprawling film in a similar vein as her previous film, The Savages. Paul Giamatti and Catherine Hahn are a couple living in Manhattan who have spent the last few years attempting to have a baby with little success, willing to try almost anything to secure the offspring they think they want. Number 9, Okja. This wild ride, written and directed by the incredible Bong Joon-ho, is part action height and part scathing satire. Ahn So-hyun plays Mija, the young keeper of Okja, a super pig bred by a food manufacturer to be the next step in human consumption evolution. Whilst not overly heartfelt, there's still a grandeur in its friendship that will strike up every other emotion with its blend of empathetic and rather eccentric observations.
You fill up my senses.
Number 8, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. From the minds of the Coen brothers, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is an experimental film told in 6 parts about the American frontier. The film is tied together by the Coens' signature blend of dark humour, unexpected story rhythms and impressive sense of craft. Not only does the film revel in the massive, sweeping landscapes of the Wild West, it's a thoughtful meditation on death that will reveal layer after layer long after you finish.
5 fingers at a bullet apiece. I ain't got but the 1 bullet left. Sure hope I don't miss.
Number 7, Dolomite Is My Name.
Action! Cut!
There was a time when Eddie Murphy was one of the most famous actors in the world, and after over a decade of largely out-of-form work, it took Dolomite Is My Name to remind us of that, an endearingly sweet biopic about multi-talented comedian and independent film producer Rudy Ray Moore. Reuniting the screenwriters off Ed Wood, the story is provided with charming period details and fascinating bits of pop culture trivia.
You know what we should have? An all-girl kung fu army.
You know, there's plenty of story opportunity, Rudy.
Number 6, Beast and No Nation.
But it has awakened a sleeping beast. It has awakened the giant. It has put the weapons of this war back in the hands of you, the young.
One of Netflix's first big award contenders, Beast and No Nation was a great vehicle for Idris Elba and even better for Netflix themselves. Director Cary Fukunaga's wartime drama is not just something you put on in the background, it's a visceral character study that requires the utmost attention. The film tracks a pre-adolescent Agu after he's recruited to be a child soldier in an African civil war. Ultimately, Beast and No Nation is a movie that is a loud, tender and violent coming-of-age story. Number 5, Klaus.
A true act of goodwill, huh?
Always sparks another. Never fails.
From Despicable Me creator Sergio Pablos, this English-language, Spanish animated film focuses on alternate origins of our Christmas customs and mythos, where children send letters to Santa all because of a ruse cooked up by a selfish layabout who is sent to the north to work as a postman. With stunning, traditionally animated artwork, feel-good comedy and a great Scandinavian setting, Klaus is one of those few holiday films that doesn't overly rely on nostalgia.
I didn't think so.
Number 4, 13th.
So let's look at the statistics. The United States is home to 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's prisoners.
An incredibly powerful and important film, Ava DuVernay's documentary explores the injustices at the heart of America's penal system, ultimately resulting in Netflix securing their first BAFTA win. With striking footage depicting the shameful treatment of protesters, it's a powerful summary of 13th that lays bare the realities of being black in modern day America, and shows exactly how far we've really come since the abolition of slavery in 1865.
Ferguson was not simply about Mike Brown, it was also this pattern of mass criminalization and mass incarceration.
Number 3. Marriage Story. In this moving film, written and directed by Noah Baumbach, Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver portray an actress and stage director slogging through a grueling divorce, which forces them to confront the long-held resentments that ease throughout their marriage. Compassionate, funny and deeply specific, Marriage Story is a portrait of how marriage changes us over time, and how divorce turns us into our worst selves.
And you're like my father. You're also like my mother. You're all the bad things about all of these people. But mostly your mother. When we would lie in bed together, sometimes I would look at you and see her and just feel so gross.
Number 2. The Irishman.
No. Do you have any moving violations? No. Do you drink on the job?
No.
You ever hit anybody?
On a job?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, then. We don't have nothing to worry about.
Nobody does gangster movies quite like Martin Scorsese. Returning to his roots more akin to Goodfellas and Casino, Scorsese tackled this Netflix crime epic by utilising cutting-edge technology to expertly de-age his leading cast. Reuniting with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci and Harvey Keitel, as well as working with Pacino for the first time, The Irishman plays out like a more subdued rendition of his classics. A eulogy that spans 50 years and 209 minutes, this is Scorsese's modern masterpiece and proof that he isn't letting up anytime soon.
I understand you're a brother of mine.
Yes, sir. Local 107 since 1947.
Yeah, our friend speaks very highly of you.
Before we reveal our number 1 film, here are some honourable mentions that just missed the list. El Camino, The Two Popes,
Gardner gave it to me.
You're very popular.
I just tried to be myself.
Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond.
There's us. We're the universe, man. I like that. That's fine.
Icarus.
The mastermind that cheated the Olympics. Yes.
To All the Boys I've Loved.
What? Let's do this.
Number 1. Roma. Roma is a film that is appropriately timed, profoundly moving and beautifully shot. A technical craftsman of the highest order, Alfonso Cuarón has an aesthetic that aims to overwhelm with the amount of extras, the sense of despair and the constant whir of exhilaration. And this autobiographical portrait of kind-hearted maid Cleo caring for a family in the early 1970s has been staged on a staggering, mind-boggling scale. The movie is filled with compositions tinged with careful ambiguity and unresolved tensions. Thank you for watching. Have your own opinions? Leave them in the comments below and be sure to subscribe for new content every week.